So today I took my first trip to the American Dream Mall. Yes, this place, the grand opening was like in October of 2019, like just before like the pandemic started kicking up, and it was doomed right from the get-go. It was doomed when it opened, it was doomed when it was built, and that's the crazy thing. Even though this opened in 2019, as of 2019, the mall was already like 15 years old. This place was like under construction and empty for over a decade. Like, it's insane. They started working on this mall in like 2004, and there were even talks about the mall back in the 80s. Like, they were trying to build this mall since the 80s, and it opened in 2019, just before the pandemic. And you know, right there, it was doomed. No one's shopping anywhere. This is cursed. This is a cursed mall, and it's insane. I couldn't believe they actually built this. This mall is the second largest mall in the United States. Yes, it's right underneath Mall of America. Mall of America has like 5.6 million square feet of retail. Well, the American Dream Mall is 3 million square feet. Like, do we need this? Do we really need this? So, and the crazy thing is, I'm up in that area a lot. Even before the pandemic, I was up there a lot. And so I saw them building this thing for years upon years upon years upon years. And the first contractor went bankrupt, and then someone else bought it, and they went bankrupt, and another company brought it on, and then there was like some type of bond or loan from the state of New Jersey to get this thing finished, because they were in the hole so deep with this thing. They're like, we have to open, we cannot open, like, we have to do something. And the design of this place is just, it's lunacy. It's absolutely crazy. It has an indoor ski slope. It has a water park. It has an amusement park with roller coasters in it. It has a Ferris wheel. It has an ice skating rink. It's just, it goes on, and they had to cut back ideas. There was supposed to be a helipad and an outdoor amphitheater and like a giant IMAX theater, and they're like, we got to scale this down, and it's still 3 million square feet. I couldn't believe it. So, you know, with the pandemic and everything, I just never got around to going to check this place out, which is weird because I was dying to get in there. I really wanted to see what this place looked like, because the whole idea that this was basically an abandoned, brand new mall. Like, it was empty for so many years, and then all of a sudden, like, you open the doors and then, you know, put stores in it. Like, is it already outdated by the time we get in there? Like, I was so curious to see what this place looked like. So finally today, I took a trip up there. I only live like an hour away from the place, and of course, you know, with the Parkway and the Turnpike and the parking, I had already spent just to get there and back. Cost me $25. You have to pay to park at this place for $5. Like, that's insane. So I get there, and even today, it was like, I figured I'd do it today it's a Wednesday, you know, maybe the traffic's not gonna be that bad, so it was pretty good. And I pull right in to the first parking garage, like parking garage A. There's hardly any cars. Like, I'm like, ooh, this is a bad sign. I mean, there's this massive mall, and I can literally almost park right up to the front door. Like, there was no problem with parking. And the parking garage is basically like as big as the mall is. It's huge. There's like multiple sections, and it's like, I don't even know, like 6 stories, 6 levels of parking. And I'm like, I don't even need to go up there. Like, does anybody even go up there? I mean, it was so weird, because like, you have this mall, it's like, it's only open, you know, almost 3 years now, and you can just go right in. There's no problem with parking. So, you know, it was weird. So I go in, and yes, they got these stylized like chandeliers and all this other stuff, but you can immediately tell that there are just swaths of those, you know, those boarded up, you know, those plywood walls with like paintings, like fake graphics and stuff on them, like to try to lessen the feel that the mall is pretty empty. I mean, it does. It has all the basics. It's got like a Foot Locker, it's got a Journey, it's got a Hot Topic, it's got Spencer's, Journeys, you know, it's got all like the basic stores that like malls have. But there is just so much retail space in here that I don't think there is even enough retail chains to fill. Like if you took literally every mall store you could possibly think of that is an operation today, it would not fill that place. Like there's more space than stores in existence. That's how big this is. And so, you know, where I went in, it was, you could immediately tell, like there was stores, but there was a lot of space, a lot of available space. And the first floor, you know, not that bad. Second floor, it gets a little sparse. You get to the third floor, oh my god, third floor is a ghost town. There, it was kind of weird. And it just lets you up there because there are some stores up there, and it's just like, for what? You know? And it's interesting too, the way they have this laid out. They put the food court on the third floor, kind of like in the middle of the mall, to try to like shove people, to get people to go all the way up to the third floor to like, hey, this is where everything is. And also, that's the entrance for the Ferris wheel. They have this massive Ferris wheel. It's really impressive looking. But again, it's everything is ridiculously expensive. Like, you just can't go, oh, let me go ride that for fun. No, it's $30 a person to ride the Ferris wheel. Like, that's, like, come on. Like, if you just lessen the prices, more people will go on. Like, everything is priced just ridiculous. Like, it's one of those things, like, you can't just go in there willy-nilly and go, oh, I'm gonna have some lunch and ride the Ferris wheel, and maybe I'll go like ice skating and, you know, buy a t-shirt. That will cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. A simple thing like getting lunch, getting some clothes, and going on a ride will cost you over $100, almost $200. Just that's the way things are now. So it's like, forget it. So you just look at that. So basically, just look at the Ferris wheel like, oh, that's nice, because you can't afford to go on it. And the same thing, they have an indoor ski slope. The thing is huge. The ski slope itself, the building that the thing is containing the ski slope, could be a mall in itself. That's how big this place is. And it was kind of surreal because I was looking through the window and there's just like snow and like these fake pine trees, and there's like a fireplace with some like fake deer heads on the wall. And I'm like, this is August. This is August. I shouldn't be looking at this, you know? So that was actually really, really neat. And they have actually like a whole little like ski lift and everything in there. So that was cool. But like, again, I'm not even gonna ponder what it costs to do that. It's gotta be like $100. I don't even know. Like, it's crazy. And the same thing, there's an ice skating rink. I was just like, oh, that's nice. Not even gonna bother asking how much the ice skating is, because it's probably like $25, $30 for like, who knows, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, they probably kick you out. Like, everything has a ridiculous price attached to it. So yeah, and it was kind of frustrating. So going through, there's also a Dreamworks water park, and it's kind of funny. Apparently this is like, it has like the tallest indoor water slide, or I don't know, something like that. It was like a world record thing. And they originally had windows where you could like look into the water park, but I guess people were complaining like they didn't want people to watch them in their like swimsuits or something. So they immediately put like decals and stickers all over the window, so you can't even really see the water park. So like the whole selling feature of like, ooh, let me see what's in there, you can't even see it. You go to the front and you can see like the front entrance with like a giant fiberglass like Shrek falling out of the ceiling or whatever, and that is it. That's really what you can see of the water park. And then to the right of that is the Nickelodeon theme park or whatever. And that actually looked really good. Like, in the back, there are some pretty crazy looking coasters. I couldn't really tell. I didn't go into the Nickelodeon part per se. I just kind of went to the balcony and like looked over the place. But there looks like there's some pretty good coasters. And again, I'm like, well, can you just buy like a ticket for one coaster? And I think there is, but the signage is so confusing, and they just make it like, just buy the pass, buy the day pass, and even that, the day pass is like $65. I mean, that's insane. Like I'm like, okay, you can ride the rides all day, but for $65, that's insane. Like 30, 35, like that's a fair price, not 65. Like, so this whole trip was just me looking at things and go, oh, that looks cool. It's too expensive to ride, can't do that, you know. So it's like they are pricing themselves already, you know, for failure, because, you know, the average family with a couple of kids, you know, you want to have them like have a fun weekend, it will cost you hundreds of dollars, and it's not Disney World, it's a freaking mall, you know. So it's just absolutely insane, absolutely insane. So yeah, that's the whole thing. And then they had like the layout of the mall itself was kind of like a 3-floor like ring kind of thing, but then there was like a separate wing that kind of jutted off only 2 levels near the back of the mall, and that was like the high-end, like, ooh, fancy retail establishment. So they have all these really freaky, scary, like artsy-fartsy face pot things and face sculptures, and I don't even know. So they had these like super luxurious like brass dogs and like velvet couches, and once again just miles and miles of temporary wall just covering where all those high-end stores should be. That was the most vacant, empty wing, and it was so weird because you're walking past all these really posh looking like amenities like on the floors, you know, sitting around, and there's no stores, and then like between this void there's just like Tiffany and Company, and there's like one guy in the back on his phone like working there. Like there's no one's going in there. Like I don't, and there was a couple other retailers, like, I don't even know what the brand was. I mean, literally, there was a place that looked like they were selling bandanas. There was nothing else in there. It was like scarves and bandanas, and they had a little velvet rope. Like, they had to let you in to look at, like, the scarves or something. And I'm like, who's buying this? Who is coming here to buy this? You know? And yeah, so that whole wing was completely empty. And you get to the second floor of that wing, and then it was just nothing. There was nothing up there. And so yeah, that was really interesting. So they're trying to cover all bases with this mall. They're trying to do like the mainstream mall stores. They're trying to do an entertainment venue, and they're also trying to do a high-end mall at the same time, which is just surreal in my opinion, because there actually is a really fancy pants high-end mall like a mile north of the American Dream Mall. And I mean, it was basically, it's right on the other side of the Hudson River. You got New York City, you got Saks Fifth Avenue, you got all those real fancy stores in New York. And if you're going to be going and spending that kind of money on something really, really fancy, you're not going to go to Tiffany and Company in the American Dream Mall. You can go another 30 minutes into the city and go to Tiffany's, like, in New York, you know? So, like, they're just too close, you know, and it's not New York, it's not Manhattan, it's East Rutherford, New Jersey, you know? Come on, it's not gonna work. So yeah, it was really weird, but and walking around, all the stores that I saw, there was literally nothing I wanted to buy. It was just nothing. It was all these name brand stores, you know, a polo shirt. I was walking, and I could see off in the distance they had like these polo shirts hanging up. I'm like, oh, 2 for $19. That's actually a pretty good deal. And as I was getting closer to the sign, the 2 for $19 came to 2 polo shirts for $119. There was 2 ones in front of that 9, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? Like, what, you know? So literally nothing there's nothing in there I wanted. There's also a Best Buy, like on the 3rd floor. There's an entire fully furnished Best Buy. I'm like, who is going to the mall and buying a flat screen? Like, you know, it's just weird. And so, like, there were those stores, but there was some one-offs in there that were actually pretty cool to see. There was an Oreo cafe, looked really cool, probably stupid expensive. There was a Toys R Us, which was shocking because I didn't even know they were like opening up Toys R Us. Now, again, I highly doubt it's like real Toys R Us. It's somebody like probably bought the name or something. I don't know, but it was, you know, branded Toys R Us. It had the giraffe at the front, and I think there was like a Toys R Us cafe in there too. So yeah, that was interesting. There was a candy store. There was a beef jerky store. You know, like those are the only kind of interesting things. But the food court was actually really, really impressive. They had, I mean, like, they had Popeyes. They had a ramen noodle shop. They had a cheesesteak place. They had a lot of like really interesting, really good brands and chains that you normally don't have access to, or at least I don't in the area. So like it was actually, they were unique to go see and try out. So it was really good. It wasn't just like, oh, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's. Like, no, there was like actual interesting franchises in there. The one I really was like excited to see in there was Jollibee. Now Jollibee is basically a fast food chain from the Philippines. Basically it's almost like a Filipino like McDonald's, I guess, or chicken place. I don't know. It's just it's Filipinos fast food establishment, and they have like fried chicken and like spaghetti and like all these strange combinations, but they're supposedly like really good. So I was like super excited to try that, but that completely got overridden when I found the kebab place. Now, oh my god, the doner kebab was, I had to immediately go try that, and that was phenomenal. Like, that alone made the trip. Like, I would, you know, if I'm in the area, I would totally go there, just go to the kebab place, because I went to EF a couple of times, and in Germany they have kebab shops, and kebabs are not really a thing in the United States. They're kind of tricky to find, and if you find them, they're kind of hit or miss kind of thing, you know. But no, this place totally nailed it. It's trying to do like the authentic German type of kebab you know, you get in Berlin, and it did. It was so good. It was so good. I mean, the only thing that they didn't have was like Mezzo Mix or Schwip Schwap. Like, I would have lost my mind if they actually had those sodas at this place. But no, but I got a Fanta, an orange Fanta. That was the closest I could get to the authentic German kebab. So yeah, the food definitely A+ at that mall. But yeah, it's surreal. And the other thing that was kind of weird is not only are the stores covered up, but there's entire wings in hallways that are just completely walled off. So what a really interesting one was there's on the 3rd floor, there's escalators, a 2 set of escalators that just go up to nothing, and they're all just sheetrocked, and the opening is just closed off. And I'm like, what's up there? Because I mean, the 3rd floor is the top floor, but yet this goes up to the roof or something. I don't know what, and there's no mention of anything saying like coming soon, or like what's up there? What is up there? You know? And there was only there's 2 sets of escalators like that. And the other one was near the Nickelodeon theme park area, because it kind of like goes off on its own branch, and it was really interesting. There's 2 hallways. Like, the 1st floor hallway doesn't actually correspond in the same, like, it's not like this. They're like, the 2nd floor is like this. So you're walking on the 2nd floor, and then there's an opening, and you look down, and there's like an Angry Birds like miniature golf course in there, and you're thinking that's where the floor of the mall should be, but it's not. It's offset. So there's like a little confusion on the floor layouts, like on the second and third floor going towards the Nickelodeon place. But those second and third floors should connect back to the main floors, but they don't. They actually are closed off just before the ice skating rink. So like, okay, so like in this picture, you can see the ice skating rink, and above it is just nothing. They're just white walls, and you can't even get to those floors. They are walled off on the second and third floors, and there's a person up there, and that is a security guard, I guess, just watching the skaters and make sure they're not doing anything stupid. But yeah, like this section of the mall totally could not get to the third and second floors. They're completely sealed off, which is crazy. Like for a mall that's almost open 3 years now, and they still have sections that are walled off. So yeah, it's just it's weird. Like the American Dream Mall, like I can understand the idea when they had it in the early 2000s, and when they started working on it, that was kind of a good idea. Almost, you know, a little. It started getting a little too like some malls. Malls are dead. No one's going to malls anymore, you know, and. The original plan was that was supposed to open, I think, in 2006. 2006 or 2008 or something. That's the plan. That was the plan for this place opening. And thinking about it, yeah, in 2000, in mid 2000s, yes, this would have been crazy. It would have wall-to-wall people, like stores everywhere, you know, but just at the cusp of malls just falling apart and dying, you know, so it would have had a chance. It opened while the malls are now dead. Like it's just not a thing, and it's too late. It's too late. Like even the mall in itself, like if this was like say 1990, oh my god, like this would be the best place on earth. Like I would be losing my mind. But but in 2022, you're walking in there and you're like, who's buying? Like everywhere I'm looking, I'm like, who is buying this stuff? Who is traveling to the mall to buy stuff? And it was interesting because I'm looking around, like people walking in the mall, they're doing the same thing I'm doing. They're walking in and just looking. They look like, oh my god, look at this place. Nobody has bags. Nobody's bought anything. Like, you don't see anybody with merchandise in their hands. Like, very few people. They're either coming here to eat, maybe bring their kids to ride some rides, but that's it. Like, you don't, like, I'm not seeing people walking around with, like, you know, a Tiffany & Company's bag or, you know, Prada or something. Who, you know, it's just, it's not a thing. Like, people are not buying the stuff. It's just they're coming and looking and eating and going home. And that's bad. That's really, really bad. And that too, I think last month, the American Dream Mall actually defaulted on their $800 million loan. Like they did not make their payment in time. And the company that owns this is the same company that owns Mall of America. And Mall of America apparently does pretty well, and the company has money, like they are making money, I think, but they are shoveling it into into American Dream Mall. Like, I think last year they said that the American Dream Mall lost $60 million in revenue last year alone. So, yeah, it's not looking good. So that was also a reason for me to do this trip, because it's like, I feel like this is going to be a small window of opportunity where you can actually go and see this 15-year-old abandoned operating mall, like fully, you know, well, not fully functioning, but like operating as a retail establishment. Because I could see this place just closing for good and sealing up, and you'll have urban explorers in this place in 10-15 years, you know. So I wanted to experience it. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the area and you don't mind wasting $5 for parking, yeah, totally just, you know, pop your head in, take a look, because it's amazing to see such an expensive mistake. Yeah.